Megatron will understand. He's had to make choices like this as a commander. I'm just following in the treads of the great leaders. Megatron? Cannonball? Megatron will be grateful.
Shut up! I liked it better when you were silenced, Optimus.
Doctor's orders, Roddy. He claims something about Optimus tiring himself out before the procedure. But I suspect Ratchet just feels more at home if the patients are yelling.
At least the screams are better than having to listen to Soundwave all day.
They have Soundwave too? How long have I been out? So I bluff like we have a chance and hope he blinks. You still didn't answer me, Slicer. What's Ratchet doing with Optimus Prime?
Maybe the boss wants to see how Optimus looks in his colors, in the mirror.
What the hell? But why would he swap? I hope Metroplex stomps on him on the way down. One less wrecker in the world.
Soundwave, leave me! You have to stop Ultra Magnus!
I'm stabilizing you first.
If you can't stop him from controlling Metroplex, it doesn't matter what happens to me.
No one has ever successfully convinced me that what happens to them doesn't matter. You aren't going to be the first. Save your energy and stop talking.
I'll shut up. But only if you keep listening.
Of course. Our thoughts are simply sound, tuned into a different station. Off the battlefield, other bots have come to me when they can't bring themselves to speak about their scars out loud. I've always been able to tune into that frequency, to turn it up so I can understand the subsonic tones. And on the battlefield, Megatron finishes telling me how Ultra Magnus has captured Optimus Prime, how Flamewars saw Ultra Magnus setting up for a procedure with Ratchet.
Hey, boss, we rolling with you?
No. You're going to protect Megatron. Get him to the other Decepticons. If Ultra Magnus is planning to take Optimus Prime's place, now's the time to strike, before he has Metroplex and all of Optimus's loyalists under his sway. The dent in the plan is one that I'm uniquely built to hear. Metroplex's screams. He's not just waking up. He's in agony. As he moves, another voice is underlaid beneath. I didn't tell Megatron because I knew the commander would barrel in. Any of us would, if we heard Starscream's cries. The sound of another bot in pain distracts me from my surroundings. Springer. Shut up! I'm about to kill the radio star! Can't hear you over the beat! I can't hear him thinking, so I hope he's knocked out for a while. I don't want to kill if I don't have to. And there's still the question of the bot who needs my help. Are you able to move? You sound exactly the same as you do over the airwaves. Face to face. A battlefield is a noisy place, and I blame that for why I didn't realize who was pinned down before. Doesn't help that his thoughts are baffling, conflicting, filled with my old broadcasts, snippets of Ratchet and Ultra Magnus and Wreckers. Didn't realize you were such a fan, Slicer. You want an autograph or something? It takes me a beat to sort out what Slicer is accidentally broadcasting to me. Stop this, Slicer! Megatron knows about Ultra Magnus's plan. So Flamewars escaped. Doesn't matter though. Ultra Magnus doesn't fail. I have to get through the noise, through his conflicting emotions. I use his own thoughts to do it. You heard Metroplex up close, didn't you? Heard the same voices I did. You know why Metroplex can't be controlled. Can't even keep from hurting others. Ultra Magnus's info was right. You can read thoughts. Yes, help me. Are you okay? Are you for real? Not every day you shoot a friend to survive. I shot a wrecker. I can't let up. Even as much as I want to help Slicer cope with what he's done, I don't even know if he wants help. So you've listened to my voice through Blaster's head? I'm stuck in your head like a hit song. I'd like to think that means something. For the first time since I started listening, Slicer's mind is quiet. Then let's go kill my boss, Mr. DJ. That simple? Yep. He must know I hear the first thought to interrupt the silence. The reason it was that simple. Springer would have killed me. You didn't. Hey, over here. I use Slicer's voice, even though he's behind me, because I don't want them to know what to expect. Ah! I have to debilitate them, or they will hurt and kill others. I do my best to use methods that will keep them out of commission, but still repairable. No! I should have dealt with them. Unless you talk about hating to fight. You just fell out of Metroplex's head and then got crushed by him. Didn't want your injury getting worse. So you chose to take on 2 wreckers on your own? Don't take it personally. I worry about everyone like this. I think that's the only way to stop Metroplex. It'll probably temporarily cause more pain for him and Starscream, but I figured as much when I signed on. You don't have to have me walk ahead. Call it well-placed paranoia. You know Ratchet and his skill set pretty well. Was that a question? Because it was a terrible topic change. I didn't mean to make him defensive. He's very loud in your head. I wanted to know if there's a chance his procedure fails and we don't need to deal with Ultra Magnus. Not likely. Ratchet wouldn't risk agreeing to this if he thought Ultra Magnus was at risk. He'd be ripped apart by the wreckers. I wouldn't let him risk it. How do you explain this then? Magnus's leg. Maybe Metroplex's movement may have complicated the surgery. Optimism doesn't suit him. Ultra Magnus isn't in that shell. Ratchet must have disabled the voice box, but it still thinks the screaming threats it can't say. It's Optimus Prime. Which means the surgery worked. This is the first front row seat I've ever wanted to refuse.
I would have expected one of Megatron's spies, or assassins, not his grief counselor, music bot. What do you fancy yourself these days, Soundwave?
You haven't gotten his speech patterns down. Try more grunts. You've got the smugness. Learn some respect there, Soundwave. You're outnumbered. His thoughts tell me to keep talking. I'm just compiling notes on how Ultra Magnus could sound less like a bureaucrat with an attitude problem. Ultra Magnus's temper doesn't play well with the fact he's relearning his motor skills.
Careful! I told you we didn't finish running all the calibrations, and your center of gravity is usually much higher than—
Stay back! This is but a momentary concern. I'm already figuring out how to compensate for this barbaric frame. And besides, I have the wreckers. Isn't that right, Slicer?
Do I call you Ultra Magnus, Optimus, or just Boss?
I assume that you have gotten whatever information Soundwave has to offer.
Everything he offered was enlightening.
Then act like a wrecker and get rid of him.
Slicer is risking a lot getting that close to Ultra Magnus, so when he broadcasts his thoughts to me, I pay close attention. Thought waves are faster than speech. He tells me that at his signal, we're only going to have an instant to knock out the other wreckers. Knock out, not kill. He thinks that for me. He says when we're done, he's taking Ratchet and running. While he tells me his plan, my attention is split. Metroplex and Starscream's screams are syncing up more and more. If they line up, we could lose both of them forever, either to pain or to Ultra Magnus's designs. I will not lose more of us. Metroplex rises and rages, and everything inside of him shakes and collapses. All of us included. We have to move fast. Stay down, Tailgate!
You and the traitor are outmatched, Waves.
He's right. I don't care. Metroplex and Starscream aren't going to survive if we don't— I've wanted to do this for a long time.
Slicer!
Ugh. Neither will any of us if we don't hurry up.
I cannot wait to silence that righteous, holier-than-thou.
Even if I can get through drift, I don't know if I can detach Starscream's spark without help. And I'm not sure that Slicer is going to be able to stay focused on the mission. I don't blame him. Something tells me this'll hurt worse than—
I'm gonna tear you apart, bolt by bolt, you!
I don't want to do what happens next. I want to be wise enough to have other options. But this is a battlefield. When I can't save everyone, I have to save as many as I can. I remind myself of all the horrors the wreckers are responsible for. And then I have to keep moving. Slicer! When I'm done with you— Jetfire! Starscream needs us. Needs you. What are you planning? I'll tell you on the way to his spark, if you'll get me there. I wanted to convince Slicer to move with us, but his thoughts were only of getting him and Ratchet out of there. Fortunately, Jetfire was similarly focused. Starscream's spark shivers and buzzes as Jetfire gets close. It knows he's here. With every step, Jetfire is battling the urgency of the situation and awe-filled reverence for the spark. It hurts to know he doesn't have any time to truly process this, but I urge him along. When I pull this cord, it cuts the connection. Metroplex will fall. I will do what I can to help on the ground. You've got to get his spark away from the battle as fast as possible if we want to keep it safe. Not a problem. I should have done that from the start. It doesn't take much convincing. I would be shocked if it did. I've got a clear path up and away. I'll figure out how to reach you when we're safe. I'm good at picking up signals like that. I'll find you, but Jetfire. It's a good thing he didn't hear what I was trying to tell him, honestly, because he would stay behind to help me. It's my job to make sure he and Starscream are safe, not the other way around.
I will destroy you!
If this is the cost of saving them, it's well worth it. Magnus's actions make his thoughts clear.
I will do what Optimus was too arrogant to do!
Which is fine, because that first hit connects so hard that for an instant, I can't hear anything.
I will crush every Decepticon spark myself. I will guarantee the end.
Save it for someone who can't read your mind and know the truth. You had to steal Optimus's skin because you were too scared to openly lead without it. Honesty hurts. But I think about the lives that are going to be saved, because Ultra Magnus's rage might distract him enough to have us both flattened by Metroplex's fall. Might. The shot rings out, and Ultra Magnus drops me. Automatically, I reach out to Ultra Magnus's falling body, even knowing that maybe he can't be saved. But I can't help thinking that maybe I can try. I triangulate the shot, even as I cling to Metroplex's falling limbs. The angle of it, and the way sound bounces off the battlefield. It all leads back to an Autobot on the ground who said he was going to run. Slicer wasn't supposed to save me, and I get the feeling he'll never let me thank him for it either. Even if I figured out how to get down without being crushed.
Need a ride, boss?
For once, I don't argue for him to run while I save myself. Is Megatron
Already carried off the field, boss. You know we gotcha.
I do. Good work. I look around for Slicer, but of course he's long gone. But I'm far from alone. There's so much horror on the ground, so much death, more than I can process. But we all had reasons. I went into battle because there's life on the other side of the war for all of us, if we are brave enough to face it. If we are determined to learn to live with ourselves and what we've become. It may get worse before it gets better, but I will never stop believing that peace is worth it. Because Cybertron is worth fighting for.